Hi everyone, today we're making a video on how to set up and install a passwordless authentication on a Linux server. Now, the reason why you'd want to do this is, first of all, it's more secure than a standard password because that can be guessed, I guess, through other brute force methods. Something like an SSH key will only work when you have the private key, which you keep on your system, and then you can give out your public key, or you can install your public key on any Linux machine, assuming that it has OpenSSH, and you can connect to it without putting in a password. So when you have multiple Linux machines that you're working off of, this helps you scale very quickly. Otherwise, you're dealing with situations like password expiry, your password maybe is incorrect. And then if you're using applications that require communication between the source and destination, many applications on Linux systems don't allow you to put in the password, and you don't really want that in plain text anyways. So you can create a SSH key for that application to connect and do what it needs to do. Today, I'm going to be focusing on how to do that with putty. There are other ways to do that, and the reason why I'm often to go down the road of putty is because it is an application that a lot of people will use on a Windows operating system to connect to a Linux machine. And I'm doing it the manual method. There are more automated ways of doing this, and I might do a follow-up video as to how to do that. But I figured I'd go through the basics of it, and then we could evolve from there. So let's go ahead and get started. This is a bare system I have here. I haven't installed anything for Linux authentication, so let's go ahead and download putty, right? So if I just type in putty, and we can download it right here. It's the first one that comes up. And we're going to go ahead and download it. And I like to go with the MSI installer. You don't have to. And obviously, I'm using 64-bit. You can use a 32-bit if you have a 32-bit architecture on your Windows PC. Although I think last I checked, Windows 11 doesn't come in 32-bit, and Windows 10 I don't think it uses 32-bit either. I could be wrong about that one. But anyways, 64-bit is the default for most people nowadays. Any modern PC will be built on 64-bit. So I'm going to go ahead and install the putty agent, and let's go ahead and finish. It's a very quick install, and we're going to go ahead and let's find it in here. There we go. So we got the putty app. Okay, when I open that up, it's pretty straightforward. This is the default setup for it. If I were to connect right now to a Linux machine, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. I have a test machine that we can connect to. So if I went to, let me just get that IP here, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, 192.168.2.104. Oh, 192.168.2.104. So if I go ahead and connect to this, obviously, as you can see, it's the first time connecting to it. It's saying that my key isn't stored, so I'm going to go ahead and accept it. Or sorry, the SSH the SHA key for the server itself hasn't been used before, so it's asking me to confirm it. I'm not going to go into the details about that right now. That's a separate video. I'm going to go ahead and accept it because I know it's the machine that I'm trying to connect to. As you can see here, it's asking me to log in as a user. The user I set up for this test is SSH test. And it's asking me for a password, right? Not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to take my key, accept it, and move forward. So obviously right here, this is a failure. I'm going to put this to the side. So how do we create that SSH key? Let's go down. Let's go back to putty again. And there's another application in here called putty gen right there. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and create a key here. So we're going to generate. And Literally, all we have to do is just move the mouse around the screen. It's generating a key based off of that. Don't ask me how it's doing that. I guess the guys who created Putty are finding a way to generate a random set of numbers and strings for this SSH key based on this mouse movement. So I'm just going to continue doing this until it completes. And you only need to do this once. And there we go. So here it is. So as you can see here, it says public key for pasting into OpenSSH authorized key file. This is what we will be pasting into this machine once we're able to log in. But I first want to show you guys what that looks like. So this is the key. As you can see, it's a long string. It's longer than any password that you would reasonably use. Okay. I'm going to give it a comment. This is optional, but I'm going to call it SSH key. All right, you can call it whatever you want for yours. And if you add a passphrase, this is an extra layer of protection for your key authentication. So it would first authenticate, and then it would ask you for a passcode to decrypt this key pair. If you're using this for an application, that wouldn't be useful to you. If you're doing it because you're just really paranoid and you want to make sure that your key, even if someone takes it, they can't use it, then you can do this as well. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going into that depth. Right now, I'm just showing you how to do a key authentication. So let's go ahead and save our private key. That's the first thing I want to do. And it's asking me, do I want to do it without a passphrase? Yes, I do in this case. So I'm going to click on yes. And it's going to ask me to save it somewhere. You can save it wherever you want. Just don't forget it, because the moment if you forget where this private key is, it'll stop working. I'm going to put it in documents for now. SSH test key. Okay. And then we're going to save our public key as well. And I'm going to call this one same thing, but I'm going to put pub at the end. Okay. All right. So we have our key pair. And I can show you guys what the SSH key. I want to see if it'll show me. It probably won't show it here. Let me see if I can open it with Notepad. Now, I'm used to doing this within a Linux environment where I can just open them, but Putty, if I remember correctly, I think it should be able to show it to you. And I'll open up Notepad. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. So this is our SSH key. This is the private key. This is the one you do not give out. This is the one you keep private. You protect it with your life, so to speak. Because if anyone gets their hands on this key, they can authenticate as you or as your application to your servers. And you don't want that. Okay. Theoretically speaking, if you have a server where you have multiple people trying to connect to it, everyone generates their own key and they add their key to the account they want to log into. Okay. So let's go back to this. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our SSH key to Putty so that it knows that it needs to present this key. Okay. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're first going to go to SSH and we're going to go to authentication. Where is this here? Private key file for authentication, right there. Under, just stretch this out. No, I can't do that. Under credentials here. And if you remember, we put it in documents, SSH key. That's our key. Now, theoretically, that is all you need. Something else that you can do, and I'll just find that for you here in a moment. Where is this here? You can also have it pass through the username that you want to use. You don't have to do that, but if you're going to use the same key for all your machines and you're using the same user, then this comes in handy. And I'm having a hard time remember where that is now. Here it is. Auto log on username under data. All right. The user I created is called SSH test. Okay. So all that information is what we need. We're going to go back up to session here, and we're going to put in the IP or the host name. of the server you're going to be connecting to. In my case, it's 192.168.2. I believe it was 104. Let me just confirm. Yeah, 104. So over here, 104. Okay, and I'm going to call this SSH test. And we're going to save that. And there's our SSH test. It's saved all this stuff that we just did right now. So let's go ahead and open it here. See, as you can see, it used our username SSH test, sorry. The server refused our key. Why? Because we haven't installed it yet. And I created a really bad password right now. I just called it password. All right. And where are we here? SSH test, perfect. So now that we're here, the first thing that we have to do is we have to create the directory structure, and this will work on pretty much all the standard Linux flavors you use, whether it's Rocky Linux, CentOS, Red Hat, Ubuntu. I'm using it on Ubuntu right now. It's the same process for all of them. Arch Linux, Gen 2, pretty much any of them that by default, this is what will work. If you've customized it, or if you're connecting to a customized account within that Linux system, your home directory might be a little different, so you'd have to put this somewhere else. But again, 9 times out of 10, and most of you that are watching this video, this is exactly where you're going to need to go. So we're going to go to make sure we're going to start from scratch here. We're going to go to the home directory, and we're going to go to the username that you logged into. So SSH test in my case. In your case, it could be whatever you want to call it. And to confirm we're on the right structure, we do pwd, so your path, and there it is. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a directory. So mkdir space. Now I'm using the variable, so $home, but you could do home SSH test and then /.ssh. Okay. If we do an ls, you're not going to see it, but if you do an ls-al, here are all these are special files and directories that are in your system, and you won't see them unless you do an ls-al. So our .ssh is created. This is where the authorized keys file is going to go. So we're going to go to .ssh. We're going to cd to it. Okay, if you do a pwd, you can see here we're in home, the home directory, and we're in the home directory for SSH test, and in there we're in the .ssh. Now I like to use vi, but for the sake of this, I'm going to do nano, and we're going to call it authorized _keys. Okay. Okay, so here is our authorized key file. There's nothing in here right now. If you're connecting to an existing system where other people have put SSH keys, you'll see them in here. Okay, in this case, there are none except for the one that we're about to create. So let's go back to this putty gen, and as you guys remember, we're going to copy the public key right here, this one right here. I'm going to copy it completely. I'm going to go ahead and click on copy. And we're going to go back to the authorized key, and we're going to paste it. Okay. And it has to be one line. Okay. Now make sure there's no second line. So that's why I'm scrolling all the way back so you guys can see. It's all one line. Okay. And it begins with SSH-RSA. Now, to save it in Nano, it's Control-X. That's going to say save modified buffers. Yes, we're going to save it, and it's done. And an easy way to check is if we do a cat authorized, if I could spell, authorized keys. There it is. Okay. I know it looks like it's multiple lines. It isn't. If I maximize this file, and we do another cat. See how it just uses the whole line. That's what it is. Okay. So essentially, that's all we need to set up the SSH key. Now, because the system has not had one set up before, and because we did it right now in a very manual method, the permissions aren't necessarily correct. We have to set the permissions. And don't worry, you guys can copy this. This is identical for any system you're going to do an SSH key authentication. So first thing we're going to do is shmod 0700, which is the permissions that you need for the directory for .ssh. And we're going to do a relative path, and then .ssh. You can go down that road, or if you want to be safe that everything's good, we're going to do home. And if you guys remember, we're going to do the user that we logged in with. So in my case, it's SSH test. In your case, it'd be whatever user you logged in with, /.ssh. And that's that. And we can confirm that the permissions are correct. So you have read write as a user and group, and it's read only for anyone else. Okay. So now we want to lock down the authorized key itself. Again, if anything were to happen to this and anyone took the authorized key, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It just means that you could log on to the systems that they put your authorized key file into. But you know, to be safe, and let's lock it down. So we're going to do shmod again, and this time we're going to do 600, which means that only you would have read writes to this file. And we're going to do home SSH test. Again, this is my user. You would have your own .ssh / authorized keys. Okay. And if we do an ls-al for this exact same path, there it is. See, only you have read write. No one else has read write to that file. So why don't we go ahead and test this now? Because theoretically, that's all you need, and you can log in. Well, let's try that again here. So I'm going to go ahead and restart my connection and SSH test. This is the old one without a saved password. So let me just make sure that everything's correct here. And this one didn't have the password, so I'm going to close this one off. And I'm going to tail. I'm going to tail it. So use root. So you guys can see what it does. Auth log. Okay, so this is going to show live what we're doing. I'm going to open up putty here. I'm just going to space this out. Okay, SSH test, double click, and that's it. See how it says using SSH test, authenticating with SSH key, and it logged me right in. And you can see on here, this is the audit file, the audit log for the server we're connecting into. Look at this right here. Accepted public key from my machine, the one that I'm connecting from. There's the keys RSA. And there we go. So this is one of the shorter videos I've done, technically speaking. I think we're about 18 minutes in. This is how you would set it up. Now, I can definitely, if there's enough interest, I can definitely create a quick PDF document. I didn't do that for this video just because I figured it might be easier just to run through this and you walk along with the video, doing it on your own. I can definitely do follow-ups on this as to how I would do this from a Linux to Linux setup, but I know that a lot of the users that I've been talking to that have been watching these videos are doing it from a Windows machine. So if you have any questions, please put it in the comments, and I can definitely add more videos as this to this specific topic as we go along. Thank you very much, and have yourselves a good day.